while you chat with your favorite vendors, family, friends, and also get to catch up with the latest trends on various channels, play games, listen to music, and do so much more, all in the comfort of one social app. Download the Ayoba app now on the Google Play Store or Apple App Store and enjoy a whole new way to communicate and have fun. Remember, Ayoba is still available to all networks, but MTN users, you get to enjoy it at no data cost. Hurry now, download Ayoba. Made in Africa for the world.
Drive time on Joy with Lexus Bill.
And Access Bank's Jinnaje remittance campaign is back. Yeah. Win free airtime, great premium quality rice and branded gifts instantly whenever you send or receive money from your loved ones from around the world through Access Africa, MoneyGram, Western Union, Ria, ZPay, Unity Link, and Express Pay in the Jinnaje Bronya promo. You can receive your remittances directly into your Access Bank account or just visit any of our 53 branches across Ghana today. There's enough reward for everyone. Just send or receive and win exciting prizes this festive season. For more information, you can call toll free 0800 004400 or visit www.ghana.accessbankplc.com and see press or social media for details. It's bigger and better this festive season. T's and C's apply. Access Bank, more than banking. Your doctor, my doctor, and our doctor. Dr. Yao Safu, CEO of Medical's Hospital, is here. Hello, Doc.
Hello, Kwame.
Hi, how are you?
Lexus, I'm very, very well. Very, very excited.
Nice.
I'm in high spirits.
Oh, are you? Mm-hmm. What's making you, be in that mood today?
Oh, just see you.
Oh, is it? I've made it in life.
Kwame, something very interesting happened last week, Friday.
Yeah, I think I have an idea.
You have an idea?
But you tell us.
Right, so the blue-shirted magicians are at it again.
Oh, the best.
You know.
Presec Legon.
Oh, yes, Legon, the school.
Yeah.
Know, the one and only.
The one and only Presec.
Right, so Kwame, last week, Friday, we had a launch of the 83rd Speech and Prize Giving Day, which comes off on the 27th of November. Just about 3 weeks
from now, yeah.
Coming Saturday.
Yeah.
We're 83 years. And as is the custom or tradition, the school, the group that left school 25 years to the day, then organizes a speech. So it's our turn.
It's your turn.
It's been 25 years.
Wow.
Hey!
More about
gray hair and pot bellies.
Are you talking about gray hair? Or just loss of hair?
Oh, I don't know. I'm just talking about gray hair. Those who have the hair, they are gray. So it was a wonderful event.
Yeah.
Where we introduced our lineup of activities. So, time permitting, towards the end of the show, I'll talk about something very important that will happen on the 20th of November. But we have something special coming up, and would like everybody, all our friends and colleagues in the other schools, to join us on the 27th of November.
You know, when I saw the pictures from the launch, I nearly said was this like muscle and prize giving day? Because I saw push-ups and things. I was like, hey.
Boys were trying to remember their heydays. You're forgetting that they are grown,
old men.
They are old men.
Old
now.
men.
You know, so there's some push-up exercises going on.
Yeah.
Push-up competition going on between some of the guys. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And some of the big men too were there to really support us.
Good stuff. Now, we'll get to talk about it a bit later, but today we rather talk about a very morbid topic, but one that we all need to know about. The top 10 causes of death in low-income countries.
Right. I mean, if you put it that way, then it's a bit scary.
Well, that's the idea. I'm scared already.
So, today I just want us to focus, or in the month of November, I just want to ask us one question. Do we know the diseases that commonly afflict us, that unfortunately sometimes kill us? Do we know? And Kwame, if you knew those diseases, would it change the way you live your life? So that's the question I'm asking our audience today. And for me, the answer is an absolutely yes. if we know, if I know what the common diseases out there are, if I know what killed people a lot in our part of the world, it will definitely influence the way or the choices that I make. I think for those in positions of power and authority and policymakers, then it would also make a big difference in terms of the kinds of policies that they would push. These statistics or these figures differ depending on which part of the world that you find yourself. Sometimes we have these groupings in terms of the economic might of the country. So you have low-income countries, low to middle-income countries, high-income countries, and the statistics are different. So I just want us to focus on our part of the world economy-wise. So, Kwame, let's look at the top 10. I'm just going to run through them. They are umbrella headings, and then we'll take our time and we'll work through them one by one. So, in a comfortable lead, not the 2016.
I thought you start from the bottom.
No, let me start from the one in the comfortable lead. Unfortunately, is what we call the lower respiratory tract infections. So
that's the number
breathe,
one.
Number one, and it's far ahead of everybody, all the rest.
Number one
cause
death
is respiratory diseases, and the lower part. So anatomically, the respiratory tract, meaning the pathway that air flows as we breathe in all the way into our lungs, is what we call the airway or the respiratory tract. We divided it into two, the upper and then the lower. And we use the voice box. I mean, what I am using right now so everybody can hear me, what you use and everybody can hear you, the voice box. Anything below the voice box is the lower. And anything above the voice box is the upper respiratory tract. So the lower respiratory tract, in simple terms, are your lungs. And we all know where our lungs are, protected by our ribs. So there are diseases that affect that part of our body, the lungs primarily. And these diseases occupy the first group. The second group, diarrheal diseases. When we talk about diarrhea, we're talking about frequent watery stools. In simple terms, frequent watery stools. So in our part of the world, people experience diarrhea to the point where it kills them. Most of them happen to be children and the elderly. Number three, what we call ischemic heart disease. This is heart disease because the blood vessels that take blood to the walls of the heart have a problem. So the heart muscles do not get enough blood and your heart fails and then you die. In simple terms, people will say, oh, a heart attack.
Okay.
So that is what we mean by that. Number four, HIV/AIDS.
Okay.
That occupies the fourth group. Number five, strokes. And last week Friday, I believe, was World Stroke Day, and I'll take the opportunity to talk a lot more about strokes. It's one of the most debilitating conditions that one can suffer. Number six, malaria. Kwame, do you know that we've got a malaria vaccine, which now has been accepted? I think a couple of weeks ago that the big announcement was made, but unfortunately sometimes all these things get drowned out in a lot of unnecessary noise. But there is a malaria vaccine now, which is going to hopefully change this particular thing. But that is number six. Number seven is tuberculosis, TB. Most people would have heard about tuberculosis in this country. TB is also a type of pneumonia. It's a type of lower respiratory tract infection. But because it's such a bad disease, we've given it its own category. So TB, number seven. Number eight is preterm birth complications. Preterm birth complications, or what we call premature delivery, premature babies. We want to use the term preterm birth complications. So you must, the baby must come out anywhere after 37 completed weeks of pregnancy. Most people say 9 months, but we doctors, we count it in weeks. So if you say 9 months, that would be around 36 weeks. But then every month you have 30 days, 31 days. So if you do all of that math, then it will take you to about 30, anything after 37 weeks. Then we will feel that the baby is mature enough to come out. Unfortunately, not all of them will come out at that time. Some will come out earlier, 32 weeks, for example, 31 weeks. What do? Do we have the infrastructure in the health institutions to deal with such preterm babies? Incubators, for example. I mean, we wouldn't my incubator anyhow. So you imagine what will happen. So we have a lot of that. So that occupies number 8 position. Then birth asphyxia and birth trauma. So again, that whole labor process and delivery process. Sometimes babies stuck. The actual delivery is prolonged, and then the baby is deprived of oxygen at the time it finally comes out, and not having the requisite tools to resuscitate then becomes a problem. So that's number 9. And then number 10, road traffic accidents or road injuries. Road injuries. This is sort of like a wider picture, a regional picture. But I dare say in Ghana, if we're looking at just Ghana alone, I don't have the statistics for Ghana alone. I would think that road injuries or road traffic accident, deaths from that would be higher up.
And it will be higher up the scale.
Yes, because yesterday, I again, Joy FM talked about, broke the news about 2 gory accidents that happened. Our road traffic accident statistics are terrible. So, Kwame,
We've been on the Drive Safe campaign for a long time, trying to urge people to drive safe and hopefully reduce the numbers that die on our roads.
Exactly. So, I mean, this is good information to continue to push that particular, campaign. I hear Kojo and the team most of the time on the morning show push that particular thing. So, this is our top 10, or these are top 10 things that affect us that sometimes lead to death. So, Kwame, today, time permitting, we will do the first 2. Let me talk a lot more about the first 2. So, the first one is the respiratory tract infections. The commonest example I will give is pneumonia. There are other things like bronchitis, bronchiolitis. These are terminologies that most people will not be familiar with in our part of the world. But if I mention pneumonia, then most people would have heard about it. But let me dispel this myth. Most people believe that pneumonia is caused by cold weather.
Awakonimu. Say you son on Saturday and now Nana Akacho say, "Cause Saturday yes I will be cool."
Pneumonia. Exactly. But Kwame, this is a tropical climate. Right? So really what we call a war in our part of the world, most people, bugger for the mystery, it really is not cold here. So pneumonia is an infection of what we call the air sacs. So the airway is made up of big tubes, and as the tubes get into your lungs proper, they become smaller tubes. And then at the end of the very small ones, you have these tiny little balloons we call air sacs. And it is within these air sacs that the gaseous exchange. You exchange the oxygen for carbon dioxide. So the carbon dioxide is not needed. So that is coming out of your blood, and then the oxygen is going into your blood. So that's where the gaseous exchange occurs. These air sacs, little air sacs. Pneumonia is an infection. Germs. Microorganisms that you cannot visualize with the naked eye, all right, entering your airway, particularly the lower airway, the air sacs, and then causing an infection.
How do they get there?
Well, we inhale the air. So you just breathe in. So as you walk around, and then, well, we all share the same air. Whether you're rich, you're poor, male, female, whatever your ethnicity, we share the same air. But our immune system is so strong, so powerful. Most of the time, it's able to fight off the infection. But Kwame, I think the question you were asking is, what are the risk factors? So why is pneumonia and the lower respiratory diseases such a big killer in our part of the world? Well, there are a few things. Air must move. So ventilation is a big reason why pneumonia is common in certain parts of the world, and particularly in our part of the country. You even find it in certain communities, all right, where sanitation is poor. Kwame, during our public health training, or we call it community medicine training. We had to visit certain communities across the country, and some of the housing that I came across, and I still come across, Kwame, and yet where human beings live. We really have to do something about our housing policy in this country. It has to be a form of a human right of a sort. You know, animals are even sometimes provide them with pens. But ventilation is important. I've seen windows open into other people's halls. So someone's bedroom window is always shut because when they open it, it opens into someone's hall, and ventilation is poor. When that happens, the air is stagnant or static. It doesn't move. So poor ventilation because of poor housing is one of the prime reasons. Sunlight is also very, very important in acting at a what we call a bacteriostatic agent. It kills microorganisms. So again, because of poor housing, people always close up. They are afraid of burglaries. So curtains are drawn, windows are always shut. The room is dark, and then they turn on the lights if they need. Sometimes you need to draw your curtains. You need to get a full blast of the sun into your room. So sunlight is also very, very important. But poor ventilation is number one. So in a lot of the slum communities and the kiosk cities that unfortunately are springing up in the peri-urban areas, or in the slum areas even of the urban centers, are a big reason. We've also got special age groups: the elderly, people above 65 years, and then children under 5 years. They are also vulnerable individuals. One, these individuals, they have poor immune systems. Their immune system is not well developed. For the under fives, it is too young to fight off a lot of these microorganisms. It hasn't even come into contact with some of them. We try and vaccinate them against, say, tuberculosis, for example. For the elderly, those above 65 years too, their immune system is overworked. It's tired. It's done too much work over the period, and therefore it is weak. So pneumonia is one of the difficult conditions we have or we face in geriatric medicine, care of the elderly. Malnutrition is also another big reason. Your immune system is largely, the antibodies we produce by your immune system is largely made of proteins. So Kwame, these proteins, where do we get them from? Dietary sources. So I think last month, September, we talked a lot about diet and the reasons why we should eat, and not the typical Akan philosophy that says pintimbia your mean, so you just eat something to fill your belly. But actually, these age groups need a lot of protein. So malnutrition, unfortunately, also plays a big role. So Kwame, this is one of the reasons, or these are the reasons why the lower respiratory infections are common in our parts of the world. Let's look at the second umbrella group, the diarrheal diseases. And Kwame, I will hit you with some very damning statistics. When we talk about diarrhea, we're talking about frequent watery stools. And if you've ever had, say, food poisoning, salad, bosan YMRE, Bako bear 4 baby, that was a YMRE, you lose.
Yeah.
And then people also refrain from drinking because they think that if they drink anything, they'll poop more.
Yeah.
Which is actually the wrong thing to do. You are losing a lot of fluid, so you've got to replace it.
Okay.
Diarrhea kills 2,195 children every day.
Globally.
Kwame, process that number. Globally, 2,195 children every day. More than AIDS, malaria, and measles combined.
Wow.
But this is just the individual losing too much fluid. And then in the fluid, you also have what we call salts, electrolytes, or salts that are dissolved in this fluid. Most important is the salt we call potassium. So potassium is very important for muscle strength, or muscle contraction. So the muscle is what stands you up. I raise my arm, is the muscle that's making that contribution. It also helps the heart to also beat very well. All right. So if you have a ferocious bout of diarrhea, you lose a lot of fluid, so your blood pressure drops significantly, and then you also lose a lot of potassium. and your heart can have very funny heart rhythms, and that may give you some serious problems. 88% of all the diarrhea-associated deaths are attributable to unsafe water, inadequate sanitation, and insufficient personal hygiene. So these are the three main reasons. Some time ago, there was something about the AMA put out some very, very damning statistics about household toilets. I stand to be corrected, but I think it was around 70% of households did not have toilets. And that's quite, if you think about it. So where do we go? Well, I lived in Kolibu for a long time, so I used to see a certain practice. Open defecation is still a big problem in our part of the world, sadly. And I'm happy with this current campaign of Accra must work again and clean Accra and all of that. It's very, very good because that is what it is. 88% are attributable to inadequate sanitation, and open defecation is one of them. There have been a lot of campaigns about, hand washing after the toilet, after using the toilet. You have to hand wash, with soap and water. Well, if there's no water, then how do we promote that washing your hands with soap and water? So that's also then another problem that we have. Kwame, how many households have potable water as well? So diarrhea simply means that germs that we find in stools, someone's stools or your stools, have found their way into your mouth. That's what it means. So the germs are in someone's stools. And then they found their way into your mouth through food, water, or some other substance.
Ew.
Yes, ew, but that is what it actually means in simple terms. So I used to buy wache at a very favorite spot in Koligono when I was in a medical student in Kolibu. Everybody loves that wache. But Kwabe, just 10 footsteps from the wache joint is the community KVIP.
Now I know why you are bold.
Oh, Kwame. Bold, the Makacho says the testosterone.
No. That one too is part of it. You've eaten things.
So unfortunately, these are the realities in most communities, and therefore it is not surprising that we find some of these things. In these areas. So, Kwame, I'll reiterate again, the reason why the diarrheal diseases are a big issue: unsafe water, inadequate sanitation, and insufficient personal hygiene.
Okay. I think we should take some phone calls. If you're listening and you have any question for the Drive Doctor, you can call us 0302-216-541, okay? 0302-216-541. Or if you want to send a WhatsApp message, you can send it to 055-1111-997.
Right, so there are simple things that we can do, and actually Ghana has taken some very important steps. One of the germs that causes a lot of the bacteria, the diarrhea diseases, is rotavirus. It's a virus, and these days, every child that goes in for their child welfare clinic, what we call the weighing, gets vaccinated against that particular virus. So hopefully the numbers will trend downwards in the future.
Okay.
And then we teach our children also proper, hygiene and just to wash their hands, especially after using the toilet.
0302-216-541 or WhatsApp 055-1111-997. Scott in Tema says, Lexus, please ask Doc, how can one replace lost minerals after years of enema to empty the bowels due to constipation?
Right. So, Scott, this is a practice, and Kwame, I think when we were all young, the bento was one of the common household items that you would find there, because our parents believe that every now and then you need to give yourself an enema to purge the body,
Yeah.
or sometimes as punishment for being
Stubborn.
stubborn.
But was it a
it's-
good thing?
It's not something we encourage, but we do it for medically for individuals who have constipation.
Okay.
And what we call functional constipation, and that one there's a solution. Most of the time, it's just lukewarm water or soapy water. Something that will gently irritate the bowel, to get you to move your bowel. ORS is something that everybody should have in their homes. So if you think you've got a very significant diarrhea, just make sure you drink a lot of ORS.
Okay.
It's cheap. You can make your own ORS as well.
Okay. Hello?
Hello,
Yes, welcome. What's your name?
Afidan Kun.
Okay, Asida, go ahead. Let's hear you.
So what are the things we need to avoid to asthma crisis?
Asthma, you say?
Yes.
Okay, Asida.
Right. So asthma also falls in that particular category, because asthma is just an allergic disease, an allergy of the airways. So I describe the airways as the pathway of air from our nostrils all the way into our lungs. So in asthma, what happens is that there's a narrowing of the airway, and this is always triggered by something the individual doesn't like. Your body doesn't like something. So most asthmatics will know what the triggers are. If not, you pay particular attention. The best way to treat asthma is to avoid that which triggers the asthma. And Kwame, it's a lot of different things. I've seen people react to freshly cut grass. I've seen people react to animal dander. I've seen people react to cold weather. So up there on the mountains, yes, between June and September, that's when a lot of my asthma friends come looking for me, and those are things that you can't avoid. I mean, there's this particular individual and say, doctor, I feel I'm a big man. I am mommy V8 air conditioning room. Yeah, mommy air conditioning office. No, uzi mindu air conditioning. Not showing them. So haze is a trigger. The cold weather is a trigger. So asthma, the best way of dealing with it, make sure you know what the triggers are and try and avoid them. Make sure you've got your, we have these medicines that we give them, your inhaler, as most people will call it. And then if you use it per the prescribed dose and you don't get a response, immediately you need to get to your doctor. So asthma is a chronic condition. It's an allergy. It's very difficult to treat, but you have to live with it.
Okay. And Georgia in Kokomlimle, the final message says, ask Doc whether constant sleeping under the fan, the ceiling fan, can cause pneumonia.
Again, that's also another myth, because the fan is just circulating the room air, and that in itself will not cause pneumonia. So pneumonia is an infection. It's caused by a microorganism. It could be viral, as we have heard about COVID-19 virus, or it could be caused by a bacteria. Not all these pneumonia should be treated with antibiotics. I need to make that point. Most people get thrown antibiotics just because they have a pneumonia. Antibiotics are for bacterial infection. So sleeping under the fan, no, it is not a direct cause of pneumonia.
All right. This last question would need your contact, rather, because he says, Lexus, I've been experiencing difficulty in breathing. I've been to the hospital. I took an X-ray and nothing was found. So I think that you need to reach out to Doc so that he can give further directions. What's your number, Doc?
So I'm sure there are a lot of questions coming up on the console. Yeah. So the number is 0501 477 340. 0501 477 340.
2 down, 8 to go.
Right.
Next week, we'll continue. We'll take a couple more of the causes of death and why you need to alter your lifestyle. Thank you, Dr. Osafo.
You're welcome, Kwame.
He's the CEO of Medical's Hospital in Mampong and Medina Firestone.